Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me today. And today I am going to have a sit down chat with Mr. V, Vincent from Keep Trooping. A lot of you will have probably bought some of his amazing shoes and soft goods, but he produces all the boots that we use and various flight suits and belts and all kinds of accessories that are crucial in completing the overall costume. So here we go. I've been friends with Vincent for many years now, and it's a pleasure to sit down and chat with him. Hi, welcome back. I'm Rob, RS, and you are here in the dungeon, and joining me today in the dungeon is Vincent from Keep Trooping. I met Vincent through Brian Muir. He passed us on as someone who knew what he was doing in the shoes department at the time. I think that was kind of what he was talking about. And I think I first met Vincent at Celebration. Don't know which one it was, but it was in Florida.
Yeah, you got it. That was in Florida, 2016, wasn't it? Something like that.
I think, really?
Yeah.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
8 long years ago.
You make it sound like it was so awful to know me.
and the rest, as they say, is this. I don't know if you can, if you're listening to this and you're trying to go to sleep, and you can hear what sounds like a washing machine in the background. That's because Clarky has brought his washing machine in the soundproofed studio that we've got here, and he's washing his smalls. So, apologies for that, but this is not a professional outfit, and we've only got Vincent for a short amount of time, and we are a working studio, so it's not really a washing machine. It's machinery and tools. So I'm not sure what I want to talk about today anyway.
And Rob, an intro will be good.
We'll do that at the end.
No, because we do that and forget.
Yeah, but we need to warm up a bit. You can't just do an intro cold.
He likes to do like in the movies, right? You need to start and then you get the credits, the start credits 10 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that's what a fluffer's job would be, and we haven't got a fluffer, so we just have to
fluff.
Start going cold and then warm up.
Yep. That's what I was saying.
Okay. I'll let you lead then.
So, is there anything we can't talk about?
If there's something that I can't talk about, I will simply tell you, well, I can't disclose that.
Okay. Is there anything that you want to talk about?
Oh, no, not necessarily. I think there's lots of really cool... Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that is happening in the community, and then with the Star Wars and new TV shows coming in, the Andor that just finished, everybody being hyped up about that.
Which one that's just finished?
They just finished recording
Ahsoka.
Andor season 2.
That's wrapped now.
They wrapped up the production, so they will be now. They're in post production, right?
It's definitely going to happen then.
Oh yeah, I know Andor 2, but it ends. That they only have 2 seasons, right? So that's the second and final season, because it's supposed to end right where Rogue One starts, ish. So I would assume that somewhere along the way, in season 2, they're going to be looking for Jyn Erso or something like that, and then leading up to the rescue mission. I don't know. So, but yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of interesting things happening in the Star Wars world and universe.
So, Vincent.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
To our little dungeon.
Yeah, it's scary.
I was just saying earlier in conversation with Andrew over there that I think I saw you the back end of last year, but before that it was like before the pandemic. And then Andrew said, apart from Celebration.
Yeah.
So we've seen each other
more over the last couple of years than the previous couple of years.
Oh, definitely.
Always a pleasure to see you.
Equally here.
If anyone's listening to this, you are Imperial Boots.
No, I am Keep Trooping.
Keep Trooping.
Yeah, Imperial Boots used to be how it started, right? In 2015. So that's how, and to a certain degree, we're still known that way, right? A lot of the
that's what I was going to say. That's
right?
quite brave to change when everybody knows Imperial Boots.
Yeah, but it was. I felt it was very important at that point in time. When we first started, we had 2 pair of shoes, like the 4-2 ones for the Stormtrooper, and the jack boot for the TIE Pilot. Right, that's how it started. So at the time, I did not even pick the name because at that time we were 3 involved in that project. And to be fair, I came in late, right? So that was already established. But as we grew and as things changed and as people left, and I was standing there handling the development of everything, it felt there was a disconnect between that name and what we were doing. I mean, by then, we were doing so much more than shoes. We had introduced gloves, costumes, full kits, right? And obviously we had both for Imperial troops and Rebel legions, and to a certain degree for Mandos as well. So it just felt that it was not representative of what we were doing. In the same time, I felt there was something in the community that was I don't know, maybe a how am I going to say that? Like a war cry, as in saying, well, we are growing and we have to go out there because people are waiting for us. I mean, the general public, right? You would go to celebrations and then it was bigger and bigger and bigger, and then people were really, the fans wanted to see us. So Keep Trooping has always been there. The thing is, it used to be the tagline, right? When we first started, and then I had to sit down and we said, okay, so what do we do for the logo, etc. And then I drew that little stormtrooper walking. And we say, okay, Imperial boots, he's got the boots, and then we're just going to have Keep Trooping. And it was really silly because it was about the Johnny Walker reference. Right?
Yeah.
That was it. But I felt it was actually a really, really good name to establish what we were really doing. It's not about the clothes, it's not about the shoes, it's not about the gloves or the accessories. It's about the experience we give to people outside, fans that see us. So that's why I chose to do that.
And that's one of the reasons you're here in the UK. This week, because you have been trooping for many years.
Yeah,
you're definitely keeping trooping.
Yeah,
and you're going for your 50th costume.
Yeah,
is that your 50th?
So
cleared costume
for the 501st only. So I do have. I've already passed that long ago if I put together the Rebel Legion ones and then the 501st, right? But so this summer I'm turning 50. All right. So like a little bit of a challenge, and I thought, well, can I do 50 for 50, right? Can I get 50 costumes cleared for my 50th birthday? And then there are some sub-challenges in there as well, right? Because it's not just having 50 costume cleared. They have to have a good mix of armor and masks and just clothing. That's very important. Another very important challenge for me is to make sure that I've got one in each of the detachments of the 501st. And right now I'm on 8 out of 10. So I've got 2 more to go.
So there's 10 detachments.
Yeah. So now
Can you name them?
well, you've got the armored cavalry, you've got the Blizzard forces, the underworld, the sovereign protector, the Sith Lord, the of course first Imperial stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Then you have the Pathfinders. You've got the special ops, and then you have the Crate Clan, and then you have the flagship Eclipse, which is the one that I'm missing. And then the second one I'm missing is the MEPD, so the Mostly Police Department.
Okay. I think I lost count there.
That's happened.
I thought I got to 11 then.
Did you?
I think so.
Well, then maybe there is 11 and not 10.
Is Jolly Roger still one?
Oh yeah, there's the Jolly Rogers, right? The all the pilots, right? I forgot that one. Damn. And it's an important one too. Sorry, guys. No, I mean, think about it this way.
There was a lot of them. So what? So there's Jolly Roger for the ties.
Yes.
There's the Fizz, First Imperial Stormtrooper.
TKs.
Stormtroopers.
Yes.
There's the Blizzard Squad for the Snow Troopers. There's the Pathfinders for the Biker Scouts. And Shore Troopers.
Shore Troopers. Then you've got the IOC that I also forgot, which is all the officers.
Okay, I think that's 5.
I've got the list up. Do you want it?
Yeah, go on, hit us up.
Okay, so we've got Armored Cavalry Detachment,
I got that one.
Yes.
Blizzard Force,
Got that one.
Bounty Hunters Guild,
Forgot that one. Yeah.
Clone Trooper Detachment,
Forgot that one too. Damn it. There's more than 10.
Fist, the flagship Eclipse Detachment,
Yeah, you mentioned that one.
Yeah.
Which is that one?
non-film canon and legends characters, non-troopers.
Yeah. So, for example, in that one, the costume I'm working on is the Imperial Knight,
Okay.
which was, I mean,
Which you're working on right now. You mentioned that earlier.
yeah. I'm
So that's fresh in your mind, that one.
that one is fresh in my mind. I'm finishing up. I still have to paint it. But yeah, it's gonna come soon.
Okay, so I've also just counted how many there are. Then there's the Imperial Gunnery Corps,
Right.
Imperial Officer Corps, Jolly Roger Squadron, Crate Clan,
Yeah.
Mos Eisley Police Department,
Yeah.
Pathfinders, Sith Lord Detachment, Sovereign Protectors, Special Ops Detachment,
Wait.
and finally,
Sovereign Protectors as well.
Yeah,
right?
it's the all the guards, the royal guards, the imperial
Oh, right,
guards,
okay.
and
finally, the Underworld Detachment. That's
Yeah.
16.
that's 16. Sorry. So I will be in 16, not 10. But it doesn't change anything to the fact that I only need 2 more costumes
You've
to
got
have the whole.
all right, so you've already got all the other ones.
All the other ones. So at the moment, it's only the MEPD and then the flagship Eclipse. So these are the 2 very important ones I have to complete by August.
When I counted 16, then I did think you were going to go, shit, I've got to make 8.
No.
It's just
I'm
still
good.
the 2.
That one, the maths wouldn't work.
No, because
Because it's 50 for 50, so you've got to make 8. That'd be 56.
Oh, no, I meant, 8 detachments. To have one in every detachment, I thought you meant you only didn't have 2
yeah, no.
out of 10, whereas there was 16, which then would have been 8. But because it
numbers
just...
are
okay.
made. Numbers are made up.
Numbers
you
are
know.
made up, yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah. I look at Rob's face and goes, yeah, it's numbers. I don't care much about numbers.
50 costumes.
Yeah. So there's these 2 ones, and then
So, first thing,
yeah.
where do you keep them all?
Well,
You must have a warehouse just for your own costumes.
No. I've got in the studio, where. So I have my own studio, right, which is fairly roomy, and I've got them all over there, and they're nicely, neatly packed into nice crates and suitcases, and for the armored one, and the other one,
50
I know.
suitcases.
Well, some
And
on
then there's probably
display as
some
well.
blasters that won't fit in the suitcases, so they'll be hanging around. And
Here's the thing, I don't do weapons because, and I know it's kind of silly because I don't think that a stormtrooper without a blaster makes much sense. So I do have a small blaster for the stormtrooper, but for anything else, I don't work with weapon for two reasons. First, has been that thing over the last, I think it's since 2018 or something like that, where in some garrisons around the world, they don't allow weapons for events for whatever reasons. And in some cases, I know that it has to do with expectations from Disney, who do not want to have weapons. And then the other thing is, when I troop, I like to interact with people, right? In a different way than just pointing a gun. And I think it came on the heel.
I remember this.
It came on the heel of these really bad thing happening in the US with the shooting in schools and whatnot. And then there was that.
And the cinema.
Yeah. And then you go, okay, well, maybe it's not something that you want to have. But me, I like to interact with people in a different way than just pointing a gun.
So, see, the blaster's not, strictly speaking, part of the CRL.
No, it's not. It's an additional accessory that you can add, and I would recommend to anybody who does a stormtrooper to pick up a blaster, because the truth is, if you can troop with a blaster, because the garrison allows it, etc., it still looks really, really good. And a stormtrooper without a blaster, you feel a little bit naked. You don't know where to put your hands and how to behave. But since I don't necessarily, it's no longer my de facto costume to go to when I troop, then I don't need to worry too much about that.
Mm.
So I did in the early days.
That's a good attitude to have.
So,
because the amount of times we will have people contacting us saying, I can't get my costume cleared because of the blaster.
No. But why would they not be clear because of the blaster? It's not in the CRL. Correct. I mean, it is in the CRL an optional accessory.
I don't know. I've been dealing with the 501st and costumers long enough to take everything with a pinch of salt.
Right.
And I know that 501st is its own group. A lot of people think they are the experts on Star Wars costuming. They're not. They're a group, and they've got their own rules, and you have to meet their rules to be in their club, and that's absolutely fine.
Right.
But that's different than accurate, non-accurate.
Well, I mean, that's a debate I think that I have as well. When I mean, obviously, I'm answering hundreds of emails every year of people that want to ensure that whatever they purchase, it's hard-earned money. Mm-hmm. They are going to spend money. Whatever it is, it's a costume that if you do it right, it doesn't matter if it's a hard part, a soft part, a pair of shoes, or a helmet, you will have to spend money. So I very much welcome anybody saying, okay, well, I want to make sure that what I'm going to get is right for what I want to do, so that I don't have the bad experience of spending all that money and all that time, and then all of a sudden I cannot clear, right? I want to be part of that club. So we're trying to do as much as we can to make it, to respect these rules that you mentioned, right? So everything I do, I'm looking in the CRL and then I'm like, making sure that everything fits the bill. That being said, I think there is an evolution that's taking place now. When I started in 2009, and I started my very first costume, the CRL were nowhere near as detailed as they are now. I think part of it has to do with the medias that we can use, more series, you've got 4Ks, 8Ks, you can do, frame by frame and look at every single detail, which is fair enough. But maybe there is a distinction that needs to be made between a costumer and a collector. That's why I really like, coming here and the RS, because I am in the world of collectors, people that actually have that eye on the smallest of detail, to make sure that not only the design but the parts and everything is right, and the paint and whatnot. Does that need to be in the costuming thing? That's my question.
Before we move on to that, what I would say in the defence of the 5.0 first, we have had several times somebody come on to us and say, I've got this issue and needs resolving, and the 5.0 first won't claim a costume. And they'll tell us what the problem is, and I'll be like, really? For that? That makes no sense. And when you follow it up, occasionally we can follow this up because we'll know somebody in that garrison and we'll, hey, what's going on with this? And it's not, there's no problem with getting the costume cleared. The client, it's just not met their expectations, or they didn't realise it was going to be, like, in their opinion, flimsy, or, that kind of thing.
Right.
So it does often get used as a bit of an excuse when it's thrown at us.
Oh, no, I've had that too. Even for soft parts, right? I've had that too. And then when I actually, I do have a lot of GMLs that are also buying stuff from me. And then if I'm lucky enough, sometimes I can talk to someone and say, oh, I've got this person telling me that they can't clear with this particular costume. I'm very surprised, because it has been cleared in so many other garrisons. And then it's like, no, it's not that. It's just like the picture he took were not necessarily and the right lighting, or maybe something was missing that he had forgotten to put properly, or it was reversed, or God knows what, So I'm by no means thinking that I agree with you. There are times where, for someone who is new, just as I was, and I bought my first TK helmet from someone who was selling a CFO, and I was super excited because I was like, oh wow, I'm gonna have like a cast from original Helmet Trooper, and at the time the person that was helping me getting into the 5.0 first was telling me, no, this is really good, and so on and so forth. So I was quite excited. By the time I received it, I was like, this is hand painted. This looks flimsy, and look at this. It's not even the pull is not even clean because there's all these whatever. I had no idea of what I had in hand. You know what I mean, at the time, and I'm talking 2010. There, I had no idea. I was almost thinking, wow, I got ripped off on this one. And it so happened that my mate said, oh, wow, you've got this really cool helmet, etc. And I was not, I was like, okay, I'll sell it to you, And I was stupid enough to sell it to him. But at the time, I was okay with it, right? So it's at that particular time, you don't know, and then you do something. Later, you have more knowledge. And then maybe you just say, all right, maybe I shouldn't have done that, or maybe it was meant to be. But, that's what happened when you start, right? And then, like I say, you learn.
Yeah, people recommend and you don't fully understand why they're recommending. But then this is just when you're just on the edge of that rabbit hole, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's so interesting. Sorry to jump in, because Vincent's is almost the opposite to the way me and Paul have got almost the same beginnings, which was we had the 2007 Master Replicas Stormtrooper, which is symmetrical, it's heavy, it's thick. It's not got a lining as such to it.
Mass produced.
But you think when I was at the beginning of my journey, you think this is what it should be like. This is great, and then you go down the other route of, and then you learn like the rabbit hole, like Rob talks about. We talk about it a lot, but it's interesting to think to know that you kind of almost got started
on the other way around, and
you're like, no, it's not for me.
And then you go, okay, well. Same happened with the X-Wing helmet from Red 5. So at the time, I had just bought a kit out of the US, And that was the first time I built an X-Wing helmet. Since then, I've built so many that, and painted myself because I like that. It's very creative work. So, but that was the first time. So I'd spent time building it, and then I'd watch all these tutorials as to how to do a proper weathering and all these kinds of things. So I was really excited, made my helmet, came out, and I was really stoked about it. I felt it was like such a great helmet. And then a friend of mine came and said, okay, we've got a chance to get some EFX Red 5. And I was like, at the time again, I was like, okay, EFX, good name, good replica. I think I'm going to buy one. So I spent the money, bought one, got really excited, received the helmet, opened the box, like giggling like it's Christmas, like, I got my EFX, that kind of thing. Then I open and I pick it up and I look at it and then I put it next to mine and I'm like, nope. I was like, this is not painted. It didn't feel like it was hand painted. It was mass produced. It was a film that was put in there, or I don't know what technique they used, but it just didn't have the grit that I wanted it to have. From afar, you would look at it and then you go like, oh, okay. But when you touch it, right? That's the touching that was really important to me. You hold it and then...
Always the touching.
Yeah. Paul knows that very well. I think there's a couple of, lawsuits on that one as well for it.
But, yeah, it's the personal preference on accuracy, isn't it? And
yeah,
and just how far you want to go and what. I like the full on 100% accuracy kind of feeling,
right?
And yeah, I appreciate it. Doesn't look great to everyone's taste. Oh, we had that guy, didn't we, recently?
Just thinking of that then.
And he was saying, he made a comment on one of the videos, I think, and we did talk about doing like a reply video about it, and he was saying, oh no, they shouldn't have all the lumps and bumps. Just because the prop did, the Imperial Stormtrooper helmet wouldn't have that. It would look pristine and perfect, and it's, I don't know,
I know
it's a point of view I find difficult to subscribe to, because I know it's a prop and I want it, and I want the prop. That's what I want, and it's not because I want it to be like the Stormtrooper I imagined. It's because I want the connection to the movie.
Right. I think that's what I was saying. Is like, there is a community of collectors like yourself. I don't think I am in there yet. I do enjoy going into the nitty-gritty of things for some of my costumes, right? And I do pay a lot of attention to a lot of small details, especially when it's a new costume and then I'm working on new prototyping, and whether it's fabric or the pattern. But
where do you draw the line?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think there's the collector, and then there's also the costumer in me. That means the person who wants, we have the hashtag not Vader, right? For all the TIE fighters. How many times have I been in a black TIE fighter and hear people saying, oh, Darth Vader? And this is a common thing, right? The general public, and if you look at the level of fandom, right? You can be very casual about your fandom and know a little bit about it, or not know anything about it, but still appreciate what you see, right? But most people, they will not see the difference. They will pick up a difference between a cosplay that is being purchased in the shop for maybe 100 quid and something that is being, where you spend hours and thousands, hundreds of thousands of, dollars, quids in there in making it. They will see the difference in the craftsmanship. Will they come to you and say, hey, that should be 2 inches taller, or the shade of green you just use is totally wrong? Only us will do that, right?
Yeah.
But for 99% of people, it's not going to make a difference in the experience.
I think that was probably probably getting on for 10 years ago now. That was one of my reasons for not inhabiting the dented helmet that often anymore.
Right.
Because it got to the stage where people were putting the images up of their builds, and all you were doing was looking for what was wrong to critique it. You weren't appreciating everything that was right. You were looking for the bits that were wrong.
Yeah. Well, do you remember when, I think it was in 2018 that we had the Brussels Comic Con, and then you came, you drove, and at the time, we were working on developing the Scout Trooper soft goods. So and then we had a booth as well because we wanted to show the display system, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the prime objective for us was to show the display system, the helmet stand, and then the busts,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you had your props on it, and then it was really nice and everything. Well, it so happened that you arrived late that day because something with the boat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I had set up the booth.
Oh yeah, did I miss the ferry?
You missed
I
the
missed
ferry.
the ferry, didn't I?
Yeah. And I was like texting you going, where were you? It's like, I missed the ferry.
Yeah.
So we had set up the booth, right? And and as we were setting up the booth, someone came and was like, "Oh, so is Rob gonna come in today?" I was like, "Yes, he's coming." And is he bringing the biker scout? I was like, "Yes, he's bringing the biker scout and whatnot." He came back, and I don't remember who he was, but he came back 4 or 5 times. Is Rob here? Is Rob here? Is Rob here? As soon as you arrived, the guy was on you, and then it's like, "All right, let's take pictures." And I think there was like 100 or 200 pictures taken from all sides, angles of everything, from the armor to the soft parts, etc. And it's great because at some point there's a dedication from the community to tell you, okay, maybe we can make it a little better here and a little better. But again, where do you draw the line? Yeah, and I think that we're supposed to be there to help each other, right? So when you help, it's good. But if, as you said, instead of being positive and helping by saying, "Oh wow, you've done a great job in this and that," and the first thing you do is to try to destroy the other person's build, that's not right.
But does that come? I'm thinking of my personal experience when I did my my TK, and I say I did my TK. I do always point out that I used to pop over here and Peter take it apart in front of me and put it back together because I did it that badly. But details when I got past the expert infringement and then went for Centurion, my rivets on the kidney were in the wrong place. I didn't question being told they needed to move. First thing I did was message Rob and was like, "I need a new kidney because I put the rivets in the wrong place and they need to be specific for the build." So I took that as a positive, positive thing. It wasn't someone going,
"Oh yeah, no, I'm
looking for." So like Rob says, he's looking for what's wrong in it. But for me, very early on, in the edge of the rabbit hole, I still wanted to know what was accurate and what was right. So, I mean, some people might not give a shit about that. They might just want it to look like a stormtrooper. Whereas I needed that critique. I didn't know that those rivets were in the wrong place. I put them where I thought they should go. So I don't necessarily think that you might have always been looking for what was wrong, but looking for what's wrong is what helps people get better. And 2 things I can think of as prime examples is 1, the chest box on the tie, and 2, the shoulder bells, the bicep things on the Scout. Going down that route of what was wrong with them allowed you to bring something to the kind of prop builders to say, well, these are the right parts. It does have lines on the tie box, and it isn't handed on the greeblies on the Scout. If you weren't looking for what was wrong, things wouldn't develop like that.
Oh no, I totally agree with you. I've had these discussions with so many people in the past. Even when you do, if I make a new, let's say, I'm wearing that Carson Teva jacket at the moment. Well, we went through 3 prototyping of that in terms of pattern and design, and then usually I put, when I'm fairly happy about something, I will put it on the Facebook, and then I know that there will be people coming to give me the, whether it is in public or in private, saying, "Oh, I'm reaching out because there's this detail or that detail," and that allows us to make really, really nice thing. And I totally agree with that. I think and back to what you said about the Centurion experience, right? It is based on what exists in the CRL or the requirements, right? So it's totally right for someone to come and tell you, hey, you know what? This is not in the wrong place. So you will not clear the Centurion level. And pointing out that there's something, that there's let's say something that can be improved is a good thing, right? I think I'm more referring to if someone were to, not in the scope of clearing a costume, right? Not talking to the GML or within the scope of what you're doing, but just saying, hey, you know what, guys? And publicly say, oh, I've done this beautiful piece and I've spent all this time and I've dedicated myself to make this costume because this is something that I care a lot about, right? And this is what we do. We care about the costumes that we make because we care about the experience we give when we go out, right? And if the first answer from the community is a negative answer,
But that's the thing. That's
right? That
Yeah.
to me is feel a
that's-
little bit
That's why
harsh.
I was kind of done with TDH because someone would put a picture up and someone would just say, boots look shit or boots are wrong.
right.
You know, no more. Just like, that's it. And it's like, it doesn't really matter. They don't look that, you know what I mean? If the guy is not that bothered, you know, it's not affecting him. He's happy with them. It's his costume at the end of the day.
Right.
And this is for me, this is what really it's about. It's about your enjoyment out of it. And then does your enjoyment require that you need to meet the rules of the 501st? That's only for you to decide. And I think I'm old enough now to know just you do what makes you happy. You can't change anybody's mind about anything. They have to come to that conclusion themselves. So I just talk about what does it for me and why I do it.
I think it's a healthy view of things because, I mean, at the end of the day, you are the one spending the money and the hours making a costume, right? And if you're happy with, and this is very important to me. Again, I don't make a costume for the sake of making a costume. And yes, it sounds ironic that I'm doing that 50 for 50, where I am making costumes to reach that goal. But I have been trooping long enough and I've clocked enough outings to know that the important thing is how you are with your costume in your character so that you can give to give a timeless memory to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know that I'm based in China and they don't know Star Wars over there. You know, we've got a country that has 1.4 billion people and the garrison is barely 130 people. Right? And if you go into the social page, local social page, official page of Star Wars, you barely hit 10,000 followers. So it's not a big thing. However, every troop that I have made in public and facing people that have no idea who we are and what we represent, the excitement in the people, the smile on their faces, kids and adults going to Comic-Con over there and having the parents, well, in this case, I would be a Wookiee, and then having the people going, wow, look at, I mean, over there they call it the 大猩猩, the big gorilla. Look at the big gorilla. And then you know, you go and then they shove the kids in your, and then sometimes it's kind of scary because, you know, they really push the kids onto you to take the picture, and then you see the kid getting scared shitless, and you know they're gonna have like 5 years of therapy to recover from that. But hey, you know, they have the picture. But for them, there is really an interaction that is there. And for me, that's what matters. If you are going to put a costume in, whether you go to a hospital to do a visit, you go in a public for a Comic-Con, a convention, you do sometimes commercial work. You know, I've done some with Disney over there. The end result is really, for me, how do the public react? If you're not good in your costume, if you don't feel good about your costume, then you can't give a good performance. But if you're good with it, then you're going to have a really good time. And that good level, it's up to you to decide how you want to be.
And for you, is this the key to cosplay?
Son of a bitch. You had to use that word, didn't you? Well, funny you would mention that.
I mean, even when I started, that was we used to be like, no, we're costumers, not cosplayers.
I think it's a terminology that has it's got some. I get why we say it that way, right? Now, if you go back in time, that word comes from I don't remember his name, Japanese anime guy who was in a convention in 1984 in Los Angeles, and then, or was it San Diego? I don't remember. Anyway, point being that he created that word because he was looking into these people dressing up, and then it was like, oh, it's costume, and then they're playing the character. So, we humans being who we are, we need to shorten everything, and that became cosplay. And I think it's a terrific word in itself, because we are effectively anybody that goes out in a convention putting on a costume is playing a character. And I love the videos where you see the Deadpool's cosplayers in all these conventions who really get into making that character as if it was on screen, right? So that's very important. I think that's very important. I think there's a spectrum. And when you apply the same word to everybody, then of course, like a lot of things nowadays, you lose that spectrum. Because someone who spends, again, 100, 200 quid, buys a costume in a fancy dress shop, I think it's great. He meets what, again, it's about what you can do and what makes you happy. And then, of course, you have on the other side of the spectrum someone who's going to drop $10,000-$15,000 to make the perfect Vader costume. Yeah, maybe they're more costumers, I guess. I would agree with you on that. And that probably would be more towards that, I would tend.
But I think the whole scene with the cosplay word being recognized by everybody nowadays, whereas when I started doing this, it wasn't a recognized word. But I think the growth of it and the growth of Comic Cons is something that's fed into the clarification and the need for clarification with the CRLs. And that's where your change is coming with the CRL. Because I think in the old days, it was much more of a personal club level where you would just be told, no, we don't do that. We don't do it this way in our club. You need to change that.
Right.
And that would be it. Okay, I need to change that. Whereas now, I think people were then beginning to chat, well, it doesn't say that in the rules. So that's why the CRLs have been more clarified and refined and improved on.
Yeah.
Just because they were losing, the clubs were getting that big, you were losing that direct personal contact.
Right. Well, of course, if again, when I started, we were an outpost in China. We were 20. I think I was the 20th or 21st member of the outpost for the whole of China, right? And I was really, really lucky to have Francois to be there, because here I am going to my first meeting, and then in front of me there are all these Chinese people, but then there's that one foreigner who ends up speaking French.
So Francois was like your sponsor at this meeting?
Well, I mean, it was not my sponsor, because I was not in AA, and nor was he. But
you clearly had some problem if you're almost at 50 costumes now.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, my name is Vincent. I'm a costume, whatever that's called. But no, hold on. First of all, when I started, I said one, and that's it. Okay, that was I never intended to do anything like this.
Once your first one's under the belt, that's when you start getting a bit more creative. You've got to have a TK. What was your first one?
Baron Fell 181 Pilot.
That a tie?
So it's a tie, but it's
is that the one with the red stripe?
Yeah, it's the one with the red stripe and that funky looking chest box.
Yeah.
So that was my first, and
That's an interesting choice. What drove you to that decision?
I think the
Not a bad choice.
No.
Interesting choice.
I wanted to have something that was first. It needed to have a helmet.
Oh yeah.
I don't like to do open face character, because I don't think I look like any. In a way that it's believable.
Maybe not then.
Well, what do you think I would be doing?
Well, what do you think?
I have no idea, man. I don't think
Poe.
Poe?
Yeah.
Do I look like Poe?
I think you could pull it off.
Okay.
Convention quality.
Yeah, convention quality. Yeah. Not get $500 per hour, come to my kids kind of quality, but that's okay. No, I don't know. I'm too tall.
People don't know height, do they?
Yeah, that's true. But nonetheless, I think, the 181 was something that I felt I connected with because the ambiguity of the character, right? He was an Imperial turned rebel, ace pilot in both. And when you look at the costume, it goes in both the 501st and the Rebel Legion, right? So the Rebel Legion has an X-Wing helmet, all in black with the decal of the red decals on it, and then for the 501st you have the standard TIE fighter helmet, right? The chest box is different, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that. He's neither nor, right? And to a certain degree, it reminded me a little bit of Vader, like in that sort of. Well, you go all in one way until you do a U-turn, and then you go, okay, fine. And I like that. So, and then the second one was an officer, because a friend of mine who had joined the Legion
without the helmet, you build up some confidence there.
It was just for one event. Friend of ours had his Star Wars wedding in Beijing. And he was Canadian, and he said to me, all right, well, can you help me put that off? And I was like, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go crazy. Let me design for you invitation letter, galactic passports, the whole shebang to send to all your guests. And then by the time they come in, they will have to go through a checkpoint. And I will stamp on their passport. And then they had a fake visa in it, etc. So they would come into there, and I was the officer in charge of checking, but I needed an officer costume. So that was the second one. The TK only arrived fourth. And
fourth?
Yeah.
We've got to know what was third then.
The third? Tusken Raider.
Good choice.
Yeah, it was fun.
Good choice.
That's when I realized
a lot of people don't like them.
And yet they're so much fun to work with.
I mean, like the general public. I mean, not
the
people who wear them. Yeah, the people, their response to that costume.
No, they're scary. But
very standoffish.
Then I had that little boombox inside, and I had the trigger
noises.
Yeah, I had the trigger. So I remember doing the event for Disney, like with all the franchisees, and then
we've all been there.
And then the people coming next to me and already getting scared, just stepping next to me, they're scared, and then by the time they're like 1, 2, 3 pictures, I would just press the button, and you would hear that. And then the people will just jump, so every picture was seeing them going which was really that's when I really got into interacting with people, right? That's when I was like, oh, this is fun. This is what I want to do with my costume, right? Not scaring people necessarily, but giving them something that they go home and remember.
A reaction,
right?
Yeah,
and then they go back. They have a memory. They talk to other people, and then it sticks. right? That's what I like about doing the trooping. And in my case, I'm doing it through all these weird ass costumes. I mean, Wookiee is not a weird ass costume. It's a beautiful costume, of course. But the zombie is a weird ass costume, and still kids' favorite so far. So,
Yep. The giant gorilla.
The giant gorilla is in China works really well. I've never worn it outside of China because again,
It's probably difficult to travel.
it's okay.
You could wear it on the plane.
That would cause a scene on that one. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to take off. Please don't be afraid by the big gorilla in the back of the plane.
You could just shout, fly casual.
Yeah. Wow. It would be nice to have someone to punch it, Chewie. But
So can we talk about the PhD
sure, yes. So doctorate in
cosplay?
Well,
actually, is that the title? Would that be the title?
No. That's
Tell me
absolutely
the title.
not gonna be the title. It's not at all a doctorate in cosplay. No, I'm looking into. So, right, 15 years in. Yeah, it's gonna be 10 years with Keep Trooping now, and then I started in the 501st. In my first costume build was in 209, and I've traveled around so much, and I did so many troopings, and I met so many incredible people. I mean, I feel extremely fortunate to have met all these people that I have met. It's just very unique, all these experiences. And there's a part of me that has always loved education somehow. I don't know. I there's something in me. It's if you stop learning, I feel you die. And it doesn't mean that it has to be learning in a university or whatnot. I mean, I learned so much in prop making in a time in my life where I knew everything I needed to know in graphic design, for example. So I was bored in that. And then I needed to find something else to sink my teeth in it. And then I've got these cycles of changes that I like very much to talk about. That is, we all have our own cycles of things. Some are shorter, some are longer. I know that every 10 years I kind of like to reinvent myself a little bit. So since I'm ending one cycle now, it just felt right to do what I always wanted to do. That means doing that research degree and then getting a doctorate. Not in cosplay, but based on my experience in the last 15 years in the community, how people live the fandom. I mean, there's several layers, right? The first one that I am very, very interested in is how sci-fi lives in that symbiotic loop with our reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for some, it might be cliche, but the best example is to look into how we came about with mobile phones and the first brick that was invented. And its inventor coming out and saying, I was watching Star Trek and I loved the way they had these communicators that had no wires. So I decided to create something with no wires, right?
Our simulation is only a few steps behind science fiction. So we will.
Is it behind?
Yeah, we will get there.
Or
are you suggesting it suggests?
I am suggesting that maybe some of the things that we have today are influencing what will come tomorrow. And therefore, if I influence today what comes tomorrow, am I behind or am I ahead in my thinking? You know what I mean?
But it's just all part of the simulation.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting until we start turning people into food. That's the bit I'm waiting for.
You know,
People have done that for thousands of years in certain parts of the world.
well, they did have a Soylent Green energy drink or protein drink in the US, right? A couple of years ago, some young guy decided to sell Soylent Green. I was like, anybody that has a few more years have seen the movies and goes, not drinking that thing.
That it looked like, and it sounded like, kind of plastic Soylent Green.
I have no idea. I never drank.
I think it was.
It's,
No, the actual in the movie.
oh yeah, yeah.
I think it was just like chips of resin or something.
Oh, that I have.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, but you know, it's people. No, but it's funny you mentioned that because I don't know if it will make the final cut of the research paper that I'm working on. But there's a point where I am suggesting in the sci-fi bit is, if really we are looking in sci-fi to get some sort of inspiration to develop things, right? Like I mentioned the phone, but there's so many other things. So,
Well, I mean, everybody wanted a tablet.
yeah,
Everybody wants, don't know why, to be like Minority Report.
well, they have
With the screens where they're just moving stuff.
Well,
and
it's-
that's kind of like that Apple,
Vision Pro.
yeah. That
Well,
thing.
no, they actually, I think we have that with the Apple Vision Pro, and then there's also the new AI pin from Humane. So that just was released over the fall. So that little AI tiny box that you pin on your chest and then record things, and then you can, and it's an AI assistant, a proper AI assistant, which eventually can project on your hand, and you can use your hand to control certain things, so you don't really have a physical screen per se. So we're moving towards all these things. Now,
Do we
I am
need
pretty
them?
sure-
Do we want them?
well, that's the question. Do we want them? How is that? Can we stop them? That's another question. And if we have them and if we can't stop them, how do we actually use them properly? And can we stop what sci-fi tells us over and over and over again, that someone is going to misuse it to the demise of our own collective self? And somewhere I am absolutely convinced that at one point there will be some crazy scientist who's going to look for something to make a super soldier, and zombies will come.
Or dinosaurs, Jurassic Park, you know.
Well, I mean, dinosaur Jurassic Parks, if you look a bit of some of the research of the last couple of years, they are trying, and I don't know because I've not followed that development closely, but they are trying to use woolly mammoth DNA that they found to mix with elephants of today to see if they can recreate a woolly mammoth. If they do that, well, you know, all we need is a little piece of amber with a mosquito in it that had just sucked on a dinosaur before being
I don't like
trapped.
dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are not science fiction. They're ancient history.
Well, that depends who you talk to.
Yeah, very true.
Some people will say that.
I don't like dinosaurs.
Well, I would not
I
want
don't
to be
like-
faced with them, that's
I
for
certainly
sure.
don't like Hollywood's representation of dinosaurs, and I'm not very keen on pirates.
I knew that was coming in. I knew that was going to be the next thing out of his mouth.
What's wrong with you and pirates?
I don't really like costume drama
Oh, well,
in
but
that sense.
okay.
I like science fiction.
I do like science
I like the
fiction.
ideas.
Why
I mean-
why is science fiction not a costume drama? Surely it's the definition of costume and bit of drama.
No,
You can't just say no.
it's got its own thing. hasn't
Yes,
it?
he
It's its
can,
own-
and
it
he
uses,
did.
it uses costumes and drama, but it's not about that.
What did George Lucas call Star Wars? Wasn't it a soap opera in space or something?
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
And so soap
No, but I
opera.
think what Rob is saying is maybe there's a difference between period piece costumes, right? Things that represent something that has existed in the past and that has to be recreated exactly
stuff
to.
that's new imaginings.
And then you have the science fiction where you have to go a little bit beyond and then say, right, well, how can I use maybe what I have here to create something that people have never seen before? There's a bit
Just
more.
as a general rule of thumb, we try not to agree with Rob.
Okay. So Rob, I do not agree with you. I think
okay.
parrots are great.
Okay, I'm not interested in dinosaurs. Why go to that? is why don't the people who are doing that stop doing that, and why don't they learn how to create a teleport? That's what we want.
Oh, teleportation. Yeah, that would
that's
be
what
great.
we want.
I've seen The Fly.
Yeah.
So not really down with that.
Oh, when his cock's in the fridge. Yeah, you probably don't want to. Don't let a fly in with it.
So,
Was you doing the Vincent Price one then?
the what?
The Vincent Price one
Which one? Yeah, that was
with
the original.
tiny, with his tiny little head on a fly.
Yeah. That was that. I saw that when I was a kid, and I mean, generally speaking, that one did not scare me at all. The whole movie, and must have been, I don't know, 10 or so when I watched it. But that last bit, right? That stuck into my mind so much that even when I went
So
to
the man with the fly head,
yes, but that was
we
okay.
weren't really too bothered about that.
No.
But the fly with a little
Little-
human head on.
yes, that just and maybe because I've got some arachnophobia in me, and it was stuck in that web, and you know that there's a spider coming in, and the spider doesn't know what is what. It doesn't care. It's just something stuck there, right? But that inevitability of death from a spider, and that tiny little hand that goes, help me, that just scared the shit out of me. That last scene was like, even when I watched the one with Jeff Goldblum, I was like, yeah,
See, I think
unfazed.
This is for me is what science fiction is. It's an idea, crazy idea, and thinking, what if? Well, we can't do it. We can't do it now, so we can't teleport. So we can't teleport somebody's head onto a fly. But what if? And that's the thing. And then it's trying to develop how could you do it? What would it need? What would you need to do? You know, how would you develop it? And that's the interesting bit about science fiction.
Yeah, it was
I
a
like
mistake that
the
he did,
ideas.
right?
Yeah.
You do remember that. That teleportation screwed up because he messed it up. So it's not like so much.
No,
as
but
like,
that's the thing. It's not the science fiction idea is, oh, imagine you can teleport, and then somebody says, imagine you can teleport, and a fly got in there.
yeah,
and
exactly.
that's
yeah.
where the story comes from.
And then you get that crazy idea, and then you start stretching it and see.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
that's what I like. But that can't exist without kind of the science fiction element. Whereas pirates, I don't give a shit about pirates. You can shove them right up your ass.
What about Pirate in Space? Come on.
What was that TV show?
Yeah.
Firefly? That was a Western.
There was
that
Firefly.
So that was a Western.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
well,
didn't particularly like that.
yeah. No, but do you remember when we were kids, I don't know if you had that, the anime, the Japanese anime with, I don't know what is it called in English, but in French, well, Albator.
Cartoons.
Yeah, that was a cartoon.
Japanese cartoons are called. In
Nah,
English.
I'm talking about that specific one. In French, it was called Albator. And then you had that pirate in space, and he had like such a beautiful ship, and the costume that
But
they
that's in
designed
space.
was.
That sounds better.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That sounds more interesting.
Just throw anything in space is better, right?
I just don't like pirates drinking rum and wooden legs,
All right.
eye patches, pirates.
Yeah, what's that with the
all
eye
of
patches?
those things, yeah, I'm not overly, impressed with them.
Jack Sparrow.
I'm not particularly like swords. I like laser guns.
Right.
Laser swords.
No, I don't think it's even laser swords. It's just like blasters.
Yeah,
So
blasters.
uncivilized.
Blasters.
So, yeah, no, I mean, I get it. I look, I've been such a consumer of sci-fi since I'm 6. I Empire Strikes Back. First time in movie theater looking into that, and I just came out of that. I was like, I had no idea what happened to me, but I was like, then that was all the cartoons, the TV shows, whatever I could take.
70s and 80s for me. That was where, I think that's where we had the more interesting ideas. I can't think of any really good sci-fi ideas of recent times.
Come on, The Matrix. 99. I mean, it's not recent, but 99, The Matrix was absolutely banging.
25 years ago.
Okay,
Oh, that's depressing, isn't it?
there you go. Yeah. Okay, recently, the latest movie that really made me go, And I know there's, of course, nowadays there's never, there's always going to be division, but the creator from Garrett Edwards.
I don't know. It just seemed like a load of old ideas rehashed to me. I mean, it was shot beautifully.
There were a lot of old ideas, but I think for me, the one novel thing that really, and that's what I'm looking in a new movie, right? It's, is there something that I'm going to come out of it and I'm going to think a little bit? If there's one sentence that comes out or there's something that comes out of that, I think it's worth it, right? And in this case, the novel thing was that spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, that quote where he says, well, what would you think would happen if we, the AI, won this war? And then he said, nothing, because we only want to live in peace. And that was novel. Because every other movie that has talked about AI in some form or another has shown that the AI would take over and destroy us as a human entity, right? Including, another one that was actually absolutely banging was Ex Machina.
Yeah, that was really good. Sorry, Rob, stop tapping your feet.
Stop tapping your feet.
I'm clicking my heels together.
You've been doing it a lot. You're driving me mad.
I'm trying to go back to Kansas.
Anyway, yeah, Ex Machina was excellent. I thought
Ex Machina was absolutely and little fun. This is the first time you see Hugs and Poe together.
Yeah.
But it was such an amazing movie. Again,
it was a much better movie. I do have that in the collection.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give that one a pass.
The creator, slightly interesting to me. I've been watching a lot of behind the scenes. I haven't actually seen it, but behind the scenes special effects stuff about it. Huge amounts of it was just shot as they would shoot it, and then like normal people, no dots on the faces, no green masks, no green screen, and then they've turned them into these robots afterwards. They've done it all with this new way of producing it, so they didn't even need to shoot it. Like if you go back to The Matrix as a prime example, how we invented all the bullet time, photography and the way they shot it, and look at the disaster of the prequels, that was all on green screen. Now this was just shot. There's a bit I saw the other day of a woman who sat and she gives food to a little kid.
Yeah.
And that's an actual woman and kid in a village and not even actors. And then they turn the woman into an AI robot in post-production.
Yeah.
It's insane. Absolutely insane.
Way to go, ILM. Once again, these guys.
I mean, if you come back to AI for a minute and taking over the world, everybody references Skynet. There are probably kids today that will say to you, "Oh, when AI takes over, it's Skynet," and they've never even heard of or seen Terminator, but they've heard of Skynet.
Yeah, I think
they know it's evil.
Yeah,
and they know it's AI.
I think
and they know it's going to destroy us all.
You know what's funny is like when I hear the media referring to AI, and then and I'm not at all defending AI whatsoever, okay? But when I hear all these, especially in the US, the media always saying, "Oh, Terminator, 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 Terminator," it seems that that's the only thing that they can think of in terms of AI. And it makes it all, to a certain degree, I feel that it gives a level of triviality to what's happening. Because if you refer pop culture and the Terminator, it's just a movie, It's nothing serious. Don't worry about it. It's all good. I mean, yeah, the movie's pretty bad, but it's not going to happen. There's a bit of that sense sometimes that can come out of that. Or it goes to the complete opposite of the spectrum, and everybody go running, screaming, and oh my God, I'm almost dead already, and nothing has happened yet. I mean, for sure, I think the singularity, the way we understood it when I was a kid, is probably on our doorsteps. I think that, yeah, definitely. But then isn't that normal evolution for us? I think that's what's scary.
Have you seen the footage in comparison to what AI video was making a year ago, that like Will Smith eating spaghetti thing last year.
I've seen this.
And then the new one, like
The Sora,
it's insane, isn't it?
It's
Like,
crazy.
I still saw things wrong with it though.
well, that's good, but it's terrifying if you look at how
How it's improved in a
moved
year.
on. Yeah.
Think about, you know what's really exciting? I mean, exciting. I'm always super hyped about this conversation with anyone. And then people think that I'm crazy because, you know how dangerous this is? Yes, I know. I'm optimistic about certain things in general. But if you think about it, the bad side of technology is, and the bad side that really scares me, and they had it on the news. I was reading this morning how, sorry, we're going to go in American politics here, but Trump had these staffers pushing pictures of him with black voters. But all these pictures are AI generated. For the untrained eye, if you don't go and do your own research or look closely, then you go, okay, so black people like Trump. They're smiling. There are plenty of them around him, you know. And of course, it's been done in a bid to convince black voters that, you know, Trump is a good guy, you know. So move him to his cause. That scares me.
Well, it is a problem, but I think, me personally, I always question everything, and I don't listen to,
especially pirates.
If I see something in the media, or on TV, and nowadays on the news or on the internet or in a podcast, I just discount it. I don't believe it.
Especially in a podcast, and
just do your own research.
But how
check
can
it
you
out.
how can you do your own research when you've discounted every source of information there? Like I've always been a bit of a tinfoil hat wearer when it comes to any mainstream media, because what they're telling you is only
conspiracy theory is good because you just question everything. Why is that happening?
Yeah, but where are you
this.
going to get like when someone tells you that the surface of a planet is made up of such and such, and yet they haven't been there themselves, but okay, we're meant to just believe them because that's
Believe
made,
what planet?
Well, I don't know. I can't think of one.
Moon.
Well,
Have they been to the moon?
Moon's made of cheese, you know. Wallace
Have
and
we been
Gromit.
to the moon now?
I personally don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. We've done that
Nice.
once on one of our podcasts. Vincent, do you understand how mirrors work?
sorry,
Do you understand how mirrors work?
marriage.
Mirrors.
What do you mean marriage?
Mirrors.
Oh, yeah, mirrors. Yeah. The whole. Yeah. Of course, we know the whole theory, but I didn't know that RS podcast was a conspiracy theory place. I'm intrigued.
No,
yeah.
just question everything.
No. I mean, I think you're totally right. And again, it comes back to me and my academic.
So all of this AI thing that people are terrified about, as long as everybody just realizes, don't believe. I mean, these people have been saying, and this blows my mind. People have been saying for so long now that it's just a line and people don't get it. Don't believe everything you read on the internet, or don't believe everything you read in the papers. It's the same thing. Just as it's the same thing that when I was a little kid, I would hear adults saying, who did they have to have sex with to get this job? And then Harvey Weinstein's like, oh my God, I can't believe this was happening. Everybody knew that this was happening.
right.
It's the way of the world.
I think-
we just choose not to accept it. So, and I think AI is just going to be the same thing. As long as we choose to not accept it,
Right. But
and
then,
just now, photographs are lies. Video is lies.
And this is-
in the same way that a lie is a lie.
look
Just
at that.
accept it.
But going by that logic, then the problem was, go back years, a photograph or a video was the only reliable proof of something because
Right.
someone's mind.
Peak- yeah, it
someone's
did not
memory couldn't be
happen.
trusted.
Do you
now,
remember that?
The lie is now evolved into being video and photographs.
Yeah, but the problem is it evolves into that.
Do you
Now-
know why though? That's because somebody had the idea, if we could make a photograph of this lie, people would believe it.
Exactly.
I saw a clip the other day of a very shaky camera
Science fiction.
showing.
There's probably a science fiction film that
that covers
That
what
does that,
the use of I don't know
yeah,
if
I
there's
think Anon is coming to mind for some reason.
right.
And that's the manipulation.
I mean,
manipulation of video.
Do you know? Do you remember the really, really old one with Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery in from 20 odd years?
Wesley Snipes and
it was
Sean
on-
Connery.
I can't remember. I'll find it, but it was. It shows this really bad clip of where they show how they can just loop around someone's face, and swap them over, and it
What,
was like
Face Off?
no,
that was
like
not with them.
just on the video.
Okay.
Right, I'm going to find it now. You carry on talking.
Okay.
Sorry. Let me just say this one thing. I saw a clip the other day. Of it. I'm will put money on it being AI of a shaky camera of JFK's driver being the one who turned around and shot him. So, you know, at some point, especially if they can fake things to look as good as they do now, they can definitely fake old videos to look shit. To go, oh look, what's just
This is
been released.
this is where I join Rob in saying, well, you should not, and certainly at this point, not believe everything you see
No, the
and
whole
everything you hear.
our
and-
simulation is now an Elseworld.
Simulation is, well, okay, that's a different topic. But the thing is, I think the problem is, as a society in general, we are losing critical thinking, right? The ability to look into something and then say, I will take the time to look into this, right? Find find 4 very different sources about one particular whatever and see if they corroborate each other. And hopefully, that's only a starting point. And of course, we don't have time to do that for everything. And of course, we have gotten used to say, I have to outsource some of that work to the news, right? Now, one of the things that I don't know in the UK, because I do watch UK TV, but mostly,
Coronation
comedies
Street.
and
Yeah.
no more.
EastEnders.
Yeah, no, I know the names, but never watched this. I do like, I still, Faulty Towers was and Monty Python's, they rocked my youth. But in continental Europe, they still, when you watch the news, they still have a little bit of that, okay, something happened, this is what happened, right? A bit more factual. When you watch the US news, you realize that there is no news. It's a lot of opinions, right? And
sensationalism.
And sensationalism, which we still have in Europe as well, right? I mean, look at what happened during COVID. I was stuck for, you mentioned earlier, I was stuck for 4 years over there. I couldn't travel. I couldn't go out, right? So, watching the news from afar, worrying about my parents, worrying about my friends, lost some, couldn't be there for them. I was absolutely horrible for me. But what really, really, really hit the nerve for me is the reporting. First, like you said, the sensationalism. We have to have the numbers. We have to give like the scale of things to scare the shit out of people. And then we forgot. It seems that as a society, everybody has forgotten the basic rules of science. That is, we try, we investigate, we put a hypothesis out, we test it. It may or may not be true. If it's not true, we move to the next one. But with that, it's the same when we, when we do props. The first time you do a prop, you try, and then it may work, and then later you realize, oh, the paint that I use is actually chipping now, because it was not properly prepared or whatnot. So for the next time, I have to change that, right? So there's a trial and error basis for what we do. And trial and error has been something about the science, in science for a while. We have to investigate and find things. So there was that rush to find vaccines because they thought that, wow, this is going to kill all of us very quickly. And they were right in that. And then everybody's trying to find a solution, right? Find something. So some people come out and say, all right, maybe we can try this. Maybe. As soon as someone comes out with a maybe, everybody thinks, oh, they have said this is. No, it's a maybe. And then we try with that. And if it doesn't work, then we have to keep on looking for other things, right? The critical thinking, that's what I'm talking about. That's the someone comes and tells you, oh, it is this way. I think you're right. You have to look at it and say, is it? I will investigate myself to see if I can have a different, and then I will make a judgment call.
Or, depending on how your investigations go, you can still have a jury's out on that one opinion.
Yeah, of course, because nothing is definite. Well, it is. Everything can be definite until it's proven otherwise. And that's why we have to keep our mind open sometimes.
I like that. So the only things that are definite are death and taxes, but maybe they won't be definite.
Well, by the look of it...
Forever.
Where did I read that? That apparently the first man that will live
Disney
over 200 years old is...
frozen.
Well... But,
200 years old?
Yeah, the first man who will reach 200 years old is already been born.
Yeah.
It's not you, Rob.
Oh,
no.
It's not me.
I found this film if you want me to tell you about it.
Yeah, what was that?
It's not me, but I'll tell you one thing. That man who's going to be 200, who is already born, is loaded.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Why?
He's going to be one of the 1%.
He might not be loaded yet.
Because he can afford to be 200 years old.
Yeah, no one's going to want to live. Anyway, so this film is called Rising Sun. It's from It's from 1993. It's 2 hours, 5 minutes long. The actual synopsis doesn't really talk about what I remember being the killer points of the movie, but if you watch the trailer, which I've sent to you, Rob, it shows the exact clip I'm talking about, where they just take Wesley Snipes' head and bang it on Sean Connery's body and vice versa on a video screen in front of them, and how easy they make it look. And I'm like...
Are you recommending the movie to our listeners?
I don't know when I watched this. I probably watched it in 94 if it was out in 93, so I was 14. It's about, there's a hooker in the beginning.
I was only 14.
Banged in
94.
There's a hooker at the beginning getting banged on a table, like a corporate meeting table, so maybe that's why I thought it was a good film. But
so, do check that film out. What's it called?
Rising Sun.
Rising Sun.
Rising Sun.
I like the way when I first spoke about it, you both reacted when I said Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes were in the film. You're both like, what? That didn't happen, you lunatic.
No, because when you say Wesley Snipes, I'm thinking Demolition Man. Yes. I'm thinking what was the
Demolition Man? Blade.
I was thinking of Demolition Man before when we were talking about technology, and I remember watching them walk along with those little screens, doing the morning video calls. Sandra Bullock complaining that nothing interesting. That was like, and that's like you saying before, didn't you, about iPads?
Yeah, that's what we're doing now. Yeah. Think about.
Well, we don't do it as often as we should do.
Well, think about what we have now in terms of tech in our own pocket, right? Mm-hmm. And I had that exact same conversation with my brother, who's he's 4 years older than me, and I said to him, not to get into the whole debate of generational, boomer, X, millennials, and everything in between, but I think our generation is a very unique one because we have transitioned from the analog to the digital, right? And we still remember how all that analog used to work. Mm-hmm. I think to a certain degree, even when we do props, we are analog, right? We're not really, now we've got some digital medium with 3D printers, but it's still fairly touch. But then I see my kid, he's from the generation of all digital, everything, right? Now, and what's really funny is to see that thing. I don't know, maybe you can enlighten me on that, but for some reason he got fascinated by the 80s. And then started to ask me everything about the 80s, and then we I got a turntable, we buy vinyl records, got a cassette tape, listening to some tapes. I'm 2 steps away to buy a rotary dial phone somehow. I don't know why, but like you remember these.
Well, I don't know if this goes on with all generations, so I'm just going to speak for myself because I'm good at that. But
I hate pirates.
If you have all the music in the world, relatively speaking, at your fingertips in Spotify. We'll give an honourable mention to Apple Music because Clarky won't use Spotify, but I use Spotify. And if you've got that, yeah, you can listen. So when we were growing up, we would listen to, more often than not, we would have the radio on.
Yeah,
because it's more of a shared experience, and people would like one thing and you would like a different thing. So it was like a compromise way of listening to music. This is when you were groups of people. And in doing that, you would listen to new stuff. Now, here, I could listen to every musical track that I like, personally, myself, all day long, for weeks and weeks and weeks without hearing the same one again. But we don't. We now go out of our way. I go out of my way to play stuff I don't like, so that when I listen to the stuff that I do like, I appreciate it.
That's insane.
It's not, because you just get bored of the same thing. And I think this is where the kids are of today. I see it in my kids. They've got that much choice that they can't make a choice.
No, see,
I don't think it's just the kids. I mean, think about when you sit down in front of your TV and then put on Netflix.
Well,
and then
I
you
used to be
start
like that.
scrolling for hours before you choose something.
So I agree with that with films or TV. That's a nightmare. I hate it when me and the wife come to the end of a TV show, because then I know it's a fucking week of stress of trying to find something new to watch, and we end up just going back and watching Breaking Bad or The Sopranos or something we've seen we loved. But with music, I definitely don't agree, and that's because I put my faith in AI and algorithms that I listen to what I want to listen to. I'll get in the van and I'll say, play this. And Siri will play me what I've asked for. And then at the end of that, it will go on to just play me music it associates with what I've asked for. And a lot of the time it plays me something new. And then I'll favourite that and I'll come back to it. So I listen to a lot of new music based on what the algorithm is suggesting to me from.
See,
So I think-
technology is taking over us.
So I think what we've taken away from this is cancel your Spotify and get Apple Music.
No, I think
Because I think Spotify used to do that, but I don't think it does now. It seems to always go back to those comfort songs that you've already played.
I don't know.
Like now we're listening to a lot of Paul's Spotify because we set him up on the speaker here in the studio, and doesn't seem to matter what track he starts on his radio station. It always goes back to all of that stuff that he always puts on every day.
Can we not just look at the logic here of, is Spotify not working, or does Paul only know how to play the same playlist? I think it's most likely that second option.
Could be. But what I'm saying is, when you can have anything you want.
Yes, that's difficult to choose.
Whereas when we were younger, this is what, if you want to watch something on TV, this is what you got. We had like a small number of channels. We had 3-4 channels
Right.
here. Probably the same for you.
Yeah.
And you had a choice. Do I watch it or don't I watch it? And I would watch something to the point where the program changed and it was something I didn't want to watch, and I would turn the TV off. Whereas now, it's just constantly streaming in, whether it's YouTube or Netflix or...
You've just reminded me though of buying, I can't remember what the specific CD was, but I bought a CD in the early 90s, very excited about it from a couple of tracks I'd heard. and I remember the CD being shit. But I'd paid like 12 quid for it, whatever it was, and I was like, I'm going to listen to this thing. And you had to do that.
Do you like it now?
I can't remember what it was, so probably not. Otherwise, it just stuck with me. But my point with that is, I agree with the music thing, in the too much choice thing, because you didn't have the choice then. I was like, well, I'm not wasting the 12 quid I spent on this, so I am going to listen to it.
Yeah.
For whoever just tuned in, this is 3 old men dissing on In My Days.
And let's go straight from that to Star Wars, current Star Wars.
Good segue,
Yeah.
I like it.
You like
I
new
like
Star Wars.
all of it.
You like new Star Wars. I don't like new Star Wars.
But it's good. That's fine. I am in no opposition with anyone, and I've never been. I don't know. I've always. I mean, Star Wars has. You don't do what we do if Star Wars has not. It's no longer just something you like or something you're fan. It's part of who you are, right? It's inside you.
It was.
Oh, there you go. Until they bring the pirates. No, but you know what I mean? Let's see. Right. It's part of. I know that Star Wars for me is an intricate part of me. It's not just what I like. It's what I live every day.
The first 3 films.
All.
For
Because
me, it's the first 3 films.
But that's how it started, right? And we're the generation who saw it in I mean, let's call it the OG generation, maybe. But I think
Generation X.
yeah.
Wing.
Oh, there you go. That's gonna be a
We've got our own name.
right. The Gen X wing. That's kind of nice. Gonna make a T-shirt of that. So we're gonna have to enlist Piero to make a very nice design. If you're here, you know where to send it, and then we'll make T-shirts. And yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I watched Empire in movie theater, and as I said, I was 6. I came out of that. I had no idea what hit me. Again, I was talking to my brother, and he was asking me, "Do you remember watching that thing in our uncle on Christmas Day?" And then there was a lot of Wookiees. I was like, yes. Like, what? Which movie was that? It's not a movie. That's the holiday special. But it took me years to
You watched
understand that. Yeah, I did.
They showed that in.
It was on TV. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think we had it in this country.
No. It was on TV. Now, of
I
course.
don't 100% know that, but I'm sure I would have watched it if I'd have known.
Yeah, no,
Because I couldn't get enough.
I couldn't get enough.
Star Wars inside me.
But, you know, how does that get enough when you get 10 minutes of Wookiees going?
Well, I didn't see it.
And we didn't have subtitles.
That would have put me off, I think, a little bit. If I'd have, but maybe when I was a kid, I would have just lapped it up. I don't know.
No, I mean, I was so young.
When I see it now, I see Luke Skywalker, and I'm like, who the fuck is that guy?
Well, you know, it to me, I mean,
All that weird makeup on and stuff.
yeah.
It's like,
Or Carrie Fisher singing was quite, you know, the treat, I guess.
Just popped into my head though that I know it's not very well loved, the Star Wars Holiday Special, is it? But I was just googling it then, see if I could find out if it was ever shown in the UK. But it just came to me that George Lucas was adamant.
Oh yeah,
Carrie Fisher didn't wear underwear. She didn't wear underwear in space, but they definitely celebrated Christmas in space.
yep.
Yeah, that's
It
the
was
two
not
things I'm drawing
Christmas.
from that.
It was
Life
not
Day.
Christmas. It was Life Day, right?
Ah,
So
okay.
that
That's okay then.
you know, that celebration of life on Kashyyyk, and then Han had to bring back Chewbacca to see his family over there, but he also had to sneak it in because I mean the Imperial forces were around, so that was the premises of the whole thing. But you know,
That's good knowledge. I never knew any of that.
the funny thing is now we celebrate Life Day, right? You go to Disney in the US, and there's Life Day, right? So this year was November 17th or something like that. So they had, and you could go into the park and buy the the long red cloak, bathrobe-ish that Shui wore during the medal. Well, I mean, did he wear that in the medal ceremony? No. Ooh, little brain fart on this one. But anyway, it was so the very thing that George Lucas hated about having to have done that, holiday special, and trying to bury that for years and try to destroy every copies, and of course it did not happen, and internet arrived, and then now you can find it. I've got the digital copy if you're interested. But that very thing, the Life Day, has now become part of the Star Wars mythos for the general public, and it's being celebrated and embraced by fans, which I think is kind of fun.
Well, that's probably because...
And sorry, I'm going to interrupt you, but you see that right at the original trilogy period, there was already...
Shit Star Wars.
Well, not shit Star Wars, but people would look into that and then say, well, I don't like this. This is crap. Of course, they didn't have all the resources that they have today to just, pile it on and then share their opinions, but...
I think it was shit, still is shit, but now it's celebrated because it is not the shittest. There is worse stuff out there than the holiday special.
But is it also Life Day now for most Star Wars fans will have nothing to do with the holiday special? Like if I went to Disney and Life Day was on, I'd be like,
yeah, no, they would not know the origins, right? They would not.
I wouldn't want to go to Disney
because they've got pirates.
Yeah.
And shit Star Wars. I've got all the stuff that I like.
I was at Batuu first time. I mean, I would have loved to do the Star Cruiser, but of course they shut it down before I was allowed out of China. I did go to Batuu, and I did spend...
I wish I had that excuse.
I did spend an entire afternoon over there, and to be honest, being there, I was like, feels home. If you take away, the merchandise and whatnot, but you look at the effort put into building the space, having the spaceport, having the buildings, it felt right. As a fan, I was like, and so I can
But you
see...
like the new stuff?
I do.
Well, you're going to like it then.
I'm not saying that everything is absolutely bang on, but I also remember the time where everybody was taking a massive dump on the prequels, and then now you look at the fans that are growing up, and then they love it, and they're right. It's not bad, and Lucas did amazing breakthrough with that.
It's not the worst. It's not the worst Star Wars now.
See?
But there's a pecking order, isn't there? And it went straight up when something else went shoveled in underneath it, pushed it up.
No, I think it's time. The time makes it.
There is
the
that's
holiday
going to help.
special was probably bad, and
It still.
I
is
was
bad.
too young.
It still is bad.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it's bad.
But what I mean,
There's some weird shit in that as well.
Of course.
That is there like some sort of like kind of sexual fantasy thing going on from what I remember?
I don't remember.
Bit weird.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a bit weird.
I remember Mark Hamill's wings costume with all the Goldie thing when he was doing his dancing performance. That was, of course, something that some images you can never.
How the hell did that ever get made?
I don't know.
What?
But I understand why. Okay, I understand why George Lucas really wanted to bury that. And I understand that maybe at the time, the older fan would look into that and say, what the hell is this? Right? Fair enough. But over time, now we're looking back into that and it becomes so bad. And it's really good. It's a cult. Empire Strikes Back came out. And you ask any fan of the OT, they will say the best is Empire Strikes Back, right? It came out. It got shit reviewed in the press.
It is the best one.
It is.
But shit reviews in the press still to this day means nothing because, shit reviews are the reasons why all these awful films fail these days. It's nothing to do with them being shite. It's because the reviews of them are poor. That's how it's perceived, isn't it? And if you think now everyone can have an opinion, enough people can have an opinion that it should be balanced, which is the same logic that applied back then, which was if it was in the paper and it was shit, people would think it was shit and wouldn't go and see it.
But we have now is we've got people with, as you said, the means to be extremely vocal and to stir. And again, as soon as, do you realize that every time Disney announces something, right? Star Wars, right? They're gonna say, okay, we're gonna have a new series, or we're gonna have a new thing. Immediately after that, within 5 minutes, someone is gonna post a comment saying, well, there he goes, House of Mouse is going to screw it up again, and hopefully it's not gonna be with this person because this is shit, and hopefully it's not gonna, there's gonna be something like that comes out. And after that 5 minutes, 5 minutes after that comment is out, you have a press, Screen Rant, or whatever these online pseudo movie press are, that are going to blast their Star Wars fans already announce the demise of Disney, or Star Wars fans do not like the new thing. We haven't seen it. We don't even know what it's about yet, but there's already...
They're talking about me.
Yeah, probably. So you're the reason why I have to wake up every morning to check my news,
fan.
and I go, what the fuck?
I'm still a Star Wars fan.
Oh yeah, I am too. But I think
Of real Star Wars.
of all Star Wars, I am all inclusive, and I'm
Are you watching
fandom
The Bad
fluid.
Batch?
By the way, I love Star Trek too. So
Are you watching The Bad Batch?
I am watching. I watch everything Star Wars, whether I fully immerse myself into it and say this is the best thing that has ever happened, or at the end of it I just come out and say, okay, that was enjoyable, there's something here that I can pick up. But I watch every single Star Wars.
I need to be more like Vincent, don't I?
I'll be honest with you, the handful of people we have sat opposite you when this conversation arises, the general consensus is you need to be more like them.
Yeah.
Because most people we talk to are of the open-minded that, not necessarily they love everything, but they will watch it and they will give it a fair chance, whereas you don't. No. But I'm unfortunately now jaded like Rob is in some respects. I usually start things and I get an episode or two in, I'm like, this is shite, I'm enough. But I'm okay with that. It's not for me. That's fine.
I'm watching Bad Batch. My boy's watching The Bad Batch. He likes Bad Batch. And then it's getting cancelled. I'm done. I do not want to see The Acolyte.
But I will watch it.
I'm not. That's the first Star Wars thing that I'm not gonna watch. I don't think it's for me.
I don't know. There's a Wookiee that is a Jedi. I mean, I know that we've already seen that in the Clone. No, it was in Rebels with Gungi. Gungi. I don't remember how you pronounce that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So the point is, no, I want to. Okay, there are two things. Well, there's a couple of things. First, as a fan, I want to, like Clarky said, give everything a chance, and then maybe something is not going to be to my taste, and I will never watch it again, and that's fine. And others are going to be, I will find them great. You're gonna make.
I think I've been doing that for too long now, though. Giving it a chance.
Because, there's your C-3PO right there. But no, I think it. I don't know. I've Andor is amazing.
Well, let's finish on a high. Andor 2.
Yes.
Just wrapped.
Yes.
So it's definitely happening.
Yes.
But that's got to be good.
Yeah, because it's going to, from what I've read, it leads up to the event of Rogue One. So, season 1 was already...
and Rogue One and Andor have been the best, for me,
right?
The best Disney Star Wars properties.
Okay. Then that's great.
I can take them. I can watch them. I like them. Everything else I can leave.
Mandalorian? No, not even season 1. When the whole thing starts, and I mean, season 1 is such an epic season.
I struggle a bit. So I'll give you an example. You've got a band and they put out a good album.
Right.
Yeah? And you like that album. And then they come back with a second album and it's a bit weak. Then they come back with a third album and not only is it weak, I don't like it. I'm going to struggle to put the album that I did like back on because it's been tainted by the weak album, then the bad album, and then...
But in every weak album, I am sure there's at least one track that you've listened and you go,
yeah, but
yeah,
I'm
that
not
was
really
that. Or else you would not have bought that.
But I'm not really a track guy. And I might have gone and bought the album without hearing it because I liked the previous album. And then I struggled on the third one. And then maybe because I did get the third album, I felt a bit tricked into it and then I started to resent them. And I think that sums up my personality.
Right.
Resenting
Okay.
the bad third album that I feel that they
For
basically stole the money that I paid for it.
For the people listening now, you are with Dr. Vincent Rondia, psychologist, and we're talking to Rob about his resentment on music and Star Wars. I get it, okay? And I'm not here, and I will never convince anyone. I remember being in Celebration in Chicago and picking up a ride with 2 other random people that were, it's like a shared lift. From the hotel to the convention center, and we were sitting in the car, and this is the beautiful thing about Star Wars, something that I cherish very much. It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter who you are with, if it doesn't matter your belief system, your culture, your language, your anything. You say Star Wars, the person in front of you says Star Wars, and then that's it. You can start talking. And you can share something. You don't have to agree, but you have a basis to share and discuss, right? And I remember them piling on The Last Jedi, so which, by the way, I thoroughly enjoy, except for the Carrie Poppins part. But, I did enjoy The Last Jedi. I thought that injection of humor and, of course, general hugs was such an interesting take. Sort of took me a bit back on these original trilogy jokes that were baked into it. But anyway, so it was a great experience for me because we were there talking. We did not necessarily agree with it, but it was a fun conversation to have. And nobody was trying to convince the other that you're wrong. It's just you express an opinion. And I will never say to someone, your opinion is wrong based on my own. The other thing for me is not only that Star Wars is so important to me that I need to consume it. And if it's a consumption, well, some of it will taste absolutely delicious and other will be just satisfying enough, but maybe. And of course, I'm also looking on the other side of the thing. That is, as soon as a new character comes out, if that character has banging over there. So as soon as a new series or a new movie comes out and then these new characters pop in, then they are bound to have people who would want to represent these characters. And maybe I feel compelled to say, am I able to enable that somehow? That's why I designed that's why we have the Andor
Prison suit.
Well, I was going to say the army one, which was a very interesting process to come out with these. But then, of course, we've got the Narkina suits, right? And you were running like a mad monkey in London in your prison suit among 200 other people who were just going one way out, right?
I've got it on silent.
No, you haven't.
I'm looking at Clark and
I've got it
going,
on something.
Jesus, Rob.
That's silent.
I don't.
It's silent, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but Andor, I like Andor.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. My problem with Star Wars, when you say, oh, yeah,
Hey,
you say
hey,
to someone,
Andor. It's not just the OT. He likes Andor. We got to admit that on tape.
I do. That's Rogue One and Andor were the, as I said, are the two things that I would keep. If you said to me, you can have Rogue One and Andor, but you've got to have all this other stuff as well. This is like the cause question,
Right.
okay? The band cause. You can't have one without the other. Then I would have none of it. But if I could just take that and I can ignore the other stuff, which I find difficult, but I try to do, then I'm okay with it. But I once met this guy and he was talking about a comedy show that he liked. I can't for the life of me think what it's called, but it was like a comedy panel show. And he said, "Oh, I've been watching this show. It's so good." And I'm thinking, "Oh, we've got something in common. We can talk about this. I really like that show. Yeah, I've been watching that show. I really like it, and I think it's absolutely amazing. Frankie Boyle just makes it." And he said, "Oh no, can't stand Frankie Boyle. I'm talking about," and it was another guy on the show. I couldn't stand that guy. So straight now, we've got nothing in common. We've got nothing to talk about, and that's how I feel about when I say I like Star Wars, and then they say, "Oh yeah, Star Wars amazing. That scene in Last Jedi," and I'm like, "No, mate, that's not Star Wars." Yeah. So I struggle with that.
Can you bring me some Neosporin? I think I got burned right here.
But that's so now I try not to say that I like Star Wars because I don't want to upset someone when they say, "Oh yeah, that Last Jedi," and then I say, you know,
Yeah. No,
I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that guy because I am that guy. So I try not to be that guy.
Okay. So
I just want good Star Wars. Do you think now we're moving into the realm of AI that AI might actually produce some good Star Wars?
I don't know.
There we go, guys. So we'll leave you with that question in mind. Will AI be able to write better Star Wars? Who knows? Only time will tell. Thanks for listening, guys, and do tune in next time, and don't forget to check us out on YouTube, where we upload weekly. So until next time, thanks for listening. I've been Rob at RS, and my guest was Vincent from Keep Trooping.